Hey everybody, this is Kirk from 9 Volt Games, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about this gem, which is Sonic Ultimate Genesis Collection. Now, I'm a real big fan of these compilation things, and this is something Gary asked me for, and I've actually thought I did a video about this, and guess what? I did!
Sega.
I better turn that down. I did a video using this when I reviewed Shinobi 3. And that's why I thought I actually did a video about it. But this is one of the few games that I actually have almost every trophy achievement. So I've been playing a lot on PlayStation lately. I have almost every achievement for it. And there's not a lot of games I have that out there for. I think it's Condemned. It's Oblivion pre-expansion, and then this and Resident Evil 5, which I know Resident Evil 5 is really. But I actually did enjoy that game. But Sonic, all right, listen, Sonic Ultimate Genesis Collection. When it comes to collection games, I'm a huge fan. I know that half of you are actually here now watching me because of Infamous collection game, but I bought some bad ones. I bought some good ones. This is one of the best ones, I think, because it's got a lot of games in it that aren't necessarily like huge, like games you would think of are being huge. Come on, dude, just do what I'm asking you to do. Thank you. I think actually right here is one of the only games I don't have the trophy. Fucking Christ, the achievement for is E-SWAT, and I mean it's got so many classic games on it, at least classic games from my childhood. Alex Kidd, if you never played Alex Kidd, I'm not even gonna pretend like they're good games. I'm sorry, but Alex Kidd games are terrible to me. I don't like him, but there are some people who do like Alex Kidd. I prefer not to play any Alex Kidd games. My son likes to attempt to play them, my 4-year-old, and he just can't. But I like to let him try. And Alex Kidd, just for starters, Alex Kidd was the original mascot for Sega. Thank God that shit didn't last. Otherwise, that would have been around diddle territory right about now. Alien Storm, I don't remember. It's a shooter. That's all I remember. You can wait till this shit plays. I don't know. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I'm going down this like Alter Beast is an arcade classic. I do believe they give us the actual arcade version. They do. Oops. But I do. Yeah, some of these actually give the legit arcade versions too. Beyond Oasis is one of my favorite Genesis titles ever because I actually have Legends of Oasis, which I think I'm the only person who liked that better than Beyond Oasis, but whatever. I actually did a remake this for it. I would love this game to come back. I even asked Twitter. I mean, I asked Sega on Twitter once if I could blow somebody there to get Oasis to come back. Oasis is a very severely underrated franchise that Sega has, and it's basically, at least at the time, I thought it was their Zelda. I mean, it's not to the magnitude and scope of Zelda, but it's Sega's Zelda essentially, and I think that it deserves a lot more attention from Sega. See, this is what I like this collection for. It's some games I don't know, I'm not familiar with, and I can't pretend like I played them a lot. Alien Storm, I'm sorry, I don't know what you are. Alien Syndrome, I mean, if they're the same game or whatever, I know what Alien Syndrome is. I don't know what Alien Storm is, I'm sorry. But there are games on here that I can't pretend like I played a lot, and then there's a lot more games I have played a lot. But what's good about a collection like this is that if I started this game up, I'd probably be like, oh yeah, I remember this. And then I'd play it for a little while. And then there are games on here that I used to play all the time. And then 9 times out of 10 when I sit down here, I play a game that I played when I was a kid, and I can be like, I remember that, but I didn't necessarily beat it, like Echo the Dolphin. And I go back and I can play Echo the Dolphin now and actually enjoy it. Bonanza Brothers was it's an arcade style game, right? I don't remember. Yes. Where you go through and you steal shit? I'm not entirely sure. I haven't played it in a long time. I think the last time I played it was when I was getting the achievement for this. Columns is Sega's Tetris. It's a puzzle game. Actually, my first encounter of playing Columns was in the 6-pack. For any of you guys who remember that, I had one of those cartridges that had 6 different games on it. Comic Zone, I don't like. I think I've said this in a past video before. It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up that you jump through comic book frames. I don't like it. I do remember it when I was a kid being difficult. It's not so bad now, but I don't understand the appeal, I think. I mean, if you want to play a game straight from the 90s, it's right from the mid-90s. It says right there, 1985. It is everything 90s you could possibly imagine. Decap Attack, that's where you could throw your head on top of another being and use their powers, I believe. You had to get your body back? Yeah, there you go. I don't know. I'm used to Dynamite Heady, which is down here. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. That's one I don't have achievement for. Is I do believe it's like beating the last level on the hardest difficulty, or beating the last level which is on the hardest difficulty, and I'm at that, and I've tried it a million times. Every so often I come back and try and play it, and I can't fucking do it. It's so goddamn hard. But I didn't actually play this a lot when I was a kid, but I played a lot as an adult. You know. Dynamite Heady. Where'd it go? That's a game where you shoot your head. It's a side-scrolling platformer. I mean, it's obviously it didn't catch on the vein of Sonic, but I thought it was a pretty good game. eSWAT. This is Robocop. Sega's Robocop. It's actually very difficult, and it's a fun fucking game. I can't get that high score though. Echo the Dolphin. Echo the Dolphin's games are great, but they are overrated. I can go back and play them now, but when I was a kid, maybe they were too artistic for me because they are the artsy games. But it was one of those games that I'm pretty sure every kid lied about beating, myself included. I beat it now as an adult, but I can't say I beat it when I was a kid. No fucking way. Fatal Labyrinth is a game that I'd never played up until this, and it was awesome. It's an RPG that you go up a tower, pretty much, and you move through the floor tiles, and then you encounter enemies, and it was really fun. Flicky. Flicky is a game that we talk about. Flicky is a legend at my work. We talk about this game because Dan always used to share a story about how his parents didn't necessarily go and buy him games all the time, but his parents were feeling saucy one day and told him to pick a game, and he picked Flicky, and turns out that it was a really shitty game. I mean, I don't think it's shitty because it's part of this compilation, but if I had wasted a full game purchase on this, I would have been pissed because this is an arcade-style game, which... Back, if this game came out in the 80s, it would have been great. But the fact that it came out on this console where you have games like Sonic and all that shit, it was utter garbage. I find it fun still. Yeah, you go and you collect all the rogue chickens and you bring them to exit, even though that you're a bluebird, but you're getting these baby chicks. Whatever. Oh, Game Ground. I don't even remember what this was. Military game? I don't think there was an achievement for this one. I don't know. I can't tell you without going into it. That's not a game that I'm super familiar with. I played it if there was a trophy attached to it. Achievement. God damn it. You know what? It's because we've been playing a lot of PlayStation. We've been playing Don't Starve together. I can actually hear my wife playing Don't Starve upstairs right now. Game Ground. Yeah. It sounds like a football game, but obviously it's not. You just shoot arrows at things. I don't think there's an achievement for this one. Golden Axe. I'm going to get some hate for this, alright? I liked Golden Axe when I was a kid. Golden Axe 1, 2... 3. I do believe we have one over here. Golden Axe Warrior. I'm sorry, but they are all overrated. All Golden Axes are overrated. But it's a classic arcade-style beat-em-up game. Yeah, but you know what was better than that? Look, I even put them down. You know what was better than Golden Axe side-scrolling beat-em-up? We'll get to it. Don't worry. Kid Chameleon. First video I ever did on this channel, I talked about Kid Chameleon. You want to hear about that? Go back to that one, my very first video. Phantasy Star 2. 3, and regular Phantasy Star. There are RPGs that, I'm going to tell you what, I didn't even move this slider because I've never played them. I didn't play Phantasy Star until Phantasy Star Online. I can't pretend like these were good. I never played them. I heard that they're great. I got 1 through 4 on here. I think I touched each one of them for like a couple hours. So I can't say I never played them, but I've never given them a fair shake. I don't know. At the time, I wasn't... When I had Sega Genesis, my house had a Sega Genesis, and then my sister had a Super Nintendo. If I wanted to play RPGs, I used the Super Nintendo, and that was that. Ristar. This is a guy they tried to make happen after Sonic started to... Because Sonic and Knuckles, I think I was the only person who actually enjoyed that, and this was the character they made after, and Ristar did not catch on. It just didn't. Shining Force 2, Shining Force 3, right? Not in here. But, Shining Force and Shining Force 2 are also RPGs that some people liked. I didn't really catch on to it until I believe it was Sega CD, Shining Force CD. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I don't remember what this game is, but I want it to load now. Yeah, Shinobi 3. This is the video that I did originally. This is the last thing I went on the Genesis collection. Yeah, Shining in the Darkness. I don't think I even touched it. And then, obviously, Sonic and Knuckles, like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed Sonic and Knuckles. The Doomsday machine at the end. That was my favorite Sonic boss of all time, and the music was great. But obviously, it's everything that was transferred over from 3 because Sonic and Knuckles was actually supposed to be expansion pack for 3. It was a bunch of shit that was cut and split into its own game. I don't know if anybody knows that. Sonic 3 Blast, which I didn't like. I did not like that game at all. Sonic Spinball, which I got one year and had to pretend that I liked a lot when I was a kid, but I fucking hated it. It was frustrating. The sound effects were terrible. Now I can go back and play it for just a little bit as an adult, and it's okay. Sonic the Hedgehog 1, classic. 2, classic. 3, I didn't like as much as the other ones, but it's still one of the classic Sonic games that were actually, like, 100% fantastic. Which makes me, this Sonic 3, meh. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I didn't actually own it until later on in life. But looking at this shit gets me really excited for Sonic Mania, by the way. These are the ones that are better than Golden Axe. Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3. I think those are Sega's best side-scrolling beat-em-ups. Anything that lets you punch a bad guy in the face as a kangaroo with boxing gloves is fantastic. Super Thunderblade, that's a chopper, right? Yeah. Get to the chopper. Vector Man 1 and Vector Man 2 is another thing they started to put out after Sonic, like, reached its peak with Sonic and Knuckles, I think. And I don't know, they were great games. They were side-scrolling beat-em-ups. This dude had, like, extendy powers and shit, and he had guns. I remember that. I ended up playing it at a friend's house, but I think at this point, when Vector Man 1 and 2 was Vector Man's 95, I got a PlayStation. So I started to, the Sega Genesis for me just started to dive off because I jumped on the trend of playing the new things. So it was hard for me to go back and play the old things. But I appreciate these now as an adult, going back and playing the things that I should have been playing when I was playing garbage games on PS1 at the time. Launch titles and shit. Not all launch titles, but some other games. Zero Divide. It's fucking terrible. I should have been playing Vector Man 2. And we're back at Alex the Kid, some of the extras that come into it. So, I mean, you got a lot of games in this. So it's a pretty awesome compilation. And then as you go, you can unlock other things, like these arcade classics here. Alien Syndrome, Altered Beast Arcade, Congo Bongo, Fantasy Zone, Golden Axe Homo. Yeah, I fucking said that. Golden Axe Warrior. I'm sorry. I don't really like Golden Axe, guys. I think it's overrated. The original Phantasy Star for the Sega Master System. Shinobi Arcade, which is terrible. Space Harrier, which I think is... I don't know why they put Space Harrier in everything. I think it's a garbage game. It's Axon. So, I mean, there are extremely shitty games in this, and then there are some extremely good games. But what's great about it is that sometimes it's nice to go back and play the shitty games and be like, well, it might not be great. Like, I don't like Space Harrier, but Space Harrier was an extremely popular arcade game. And if they weren't having money flowing in for Space Harrier, like, when did they come out? Does it say? I can't see what it says. Mid 80s. If they didn't have the money coming in for Space Harrier, we wouldn't have half the shit that we have in Sega Genesis. I mean, so it says Genesis Collections, but there are some arcade classics, there are some Master System classics, and there are some noticeable things that aren't there. I do think that Chikan the Forever Man should have been on there. That is a Sega classic to me. That's Sega's Castlevania and Sega's, not Metroid. I can't go as far as to say Metroid. Yeah, well, that's Sega's Castlevania and Metroid, and they dropped it off. I don't know why it's not in this collection when they went to revisit it and they were going to make it on the Dreamcast, and they just completely ignored it. I mean, I know it's a comic book character, but come on. I don't know. That's my big noticeable one, and it's not upsetting because I have 2 solid copies of it. It's upsetting because I wanted some achievements or trophies for it. I don't know. I do think that it's fantastic. There are a lot of interviews on here that talk about your favorite franchises, so if you never picked this up, go ahead and get it. I'm pretty sure you can find it for under $15 now for either PS3 or Xbox 360, but it's definitely worth checking out. Thank you guys for watching. Hey, all my American friends, I hope you feel embarrassed and ashamed at the shit that we saw last night. Yeah. So I'm going to formally apologize for the 2 dildos that were on stage arguing with each other like a bunch of fucking window lickers. Thank you guys for watching.